All right, Kotaku, this is Steven again at PAX East, and we're with Rami from Vlambeer, who is, well, we're looking at one of Vlambeer's great games. This one just came out, Ridiculous Fishing, and I've got it on my own phone. I needed some tips from Rami, and so, Rami, I want you to take a look and tell me what I'm doing well, what not. So I have the toaster on there, right? That's a good item to have?
The toaster is a good item. You lost it already.
As soon as I mentioned it.
So you're actually playing in the second level right now, which is the Stormy Seas, and the annoying thing about the Stormy Seas is that it's full of enemies that will home in on you, and full of like diagonals that only have one opening that you can go through.
So the fish are not random here? The fish are always the same? I haven't actually noticed that.
So the fish are random, but there are patterns in the game that you can sort of learn.
Okay. Stay away from the jellyfish, right?
Yes, the jellyfish are terrible creatures, and you don't want to be catching them. So now you shoot them.
I'm using a shotgun still. Should I be trying to get away from the shotgun?
So
with the machine gun?
It appears you're doing quite well with the shotgun. It might be an issue if you get deeper, because you'll have more fish to be shooting at. These crabs are actually, they have an extreme amount of health. You might want to upgrade to a better weapon if you have some money.
Okay, and then, now, you were saying off camera that people actually thought this was a bug, that those fish go that high?
Yeah, the fish, there's a bunch of fish that can fly up into the air infinitely.
Right.
And that's because they hate gravity, so they just don't want to come back to Earth. So yeah, go to the store. I mean,
what should we buy?
So the thing in Ridiculous Fishing is, like, whatever you buy, it's always a sort of progress. So you should probably check out what the weapon.
So I could buy the...
Those are the Kimbo Uzis. Those would be a good choice.
That would be a good purchase? Okay,
yes.
I think that might be the only thing available. What is the best item in the game?
We actually, in the team, we don't agree on that.
Okay.
I personally really like the highest upgrade of the toaster, which...
So there's a better toaster coming.
It's a Tesla coil.
Oh, okay.
Like, as soon as you hit a fish, you will actually kill everything on the screen instead of just that fish.
Oh, yeah, I want to get that. All right, so we're going down again. By the way, how do you feel about my choice of tackle? I have the, I forget what I have here.
Let's see. So you have, let's see. Oh, you're already at the 4th level of chainsaw. That's pretty good. You should be able to get pretty deep.
Hover saw lure?
Yeah,
so
that should be good.
One? Okay.
One of the interesting things about that is, while going back up, if you have some fuel left, you can use that to slow down during your ascent.
Right. The thing is, once I start using the chainsaw, I don't stop. I have trouble stopping using
the
chainsaw.
We actually have a word. We actually named that. We call it chainsaw panic.
Yeah.
Because we had that a lot during development.
What's the cure for chainsaw panic? Oh.
It's not panicking.
Okay. Usually I can get it deeper than 100 feet or meters.
Yeah,
this was.
I will be completely honest with you. This was a pretty terrible run.
Terrible one. And you don't have anything in here that lets me sort of get rid of a terrible run fast. Why not? Like, why can't I just cut the line?
So we're actually looking at that at this point. It's one of those things. During the game, we actually think you shouldn't be doing that. So it will be an expensive item in the game that you can buy at the end of the game. Like, during the game, like, even if you do a terrible run, it's still earning you money. You're still getting further into the game. You're still, like, catching new species. You could be doing all sorts of things. And we don't want people to go like, well, this wasn't as great as I thought it would be, so let's just cut it.
All right, I'm going to go to another area here.
Sure.
And get a little more expertise from you. We're going to Arctic flows. Maybe you can give people tips for Arctic flows.
Yeah, the Arctic flows are the last level, and one of the most interesting things about the Arctic flows is right at the start, you have a snail party, which is a giant group of snails that is pretty difficult to navigate.
That snail right there?
No, it's going to happen right now.
Oh, panic.
Exactly. So the thing is, if you panic here, you lose so much fuel that it's going to be really hard to get to the bottom of this area.
Oh, toaster. My toaster's gone. Oh, panic.
So yeah, the second part, this part of the Arctic is actually reasonably calm. Like, if you get deeper, it will get dark again.
Okay, well, I'm going to hand you the phone after this, and you're going to show us.
So one of the things you notice if you play a lot is that the tilt is actually not relative. It's like, if you hold your phone in a specific way, it will always be at a specific position in the screen.
And you're rotating rather than, or you're tilting rather than rotating, I think. So you and I have a very different technique.
Yeah, I've seen people like play two-handed. I've even seen people play upside down.
Well, but I was treating more like a steering wheel, and I think you're.
Oh, that was.
My apologies, but you were rocking it more, right?
Yeah,
and
that's the way I play.
Okay.
People can play like this and this. And I've heard about people playing upside down like this as well. which I thought was pretty interesting. I've seen a lot of strategies for this game. So in the Arctic flows, one of the things, if you get a really good run, what you don't want to be doing is getting a lot of snails, because the snails are worth only $4.
Right.
But they're fish that you will have to kill, and they will keep your camera down. The camera focus on the lowest fish that is not a jellyfish. So if you get really heavy fish that aren't worth a lot of money, that will keep you from shooting the fish that actually matter before they start falling down again.
Oh, so okay, I hadn't picked up that level of strategy yet. So the most expensive fish are at the top.
No, they're not always at the top, but
they
have
worst
different
fish.
ways.
Okay.
So there are some fish that are really heavy or have a really terrible effect on you. The carrier fish, for example, sounds like a great fish because it like spits out other fish. But
the snail in particular, you're saying, is heavy and not worth much.
Exactly.
So if you have to waste time shooting it, you may miss the better fish above it.
Exactly.
Because they'll fall down. Okay.
They'll be already falling down, and like it's really hard to stop a fish from falling. Oh shit, that was terrible. Open space, yeah, record depth. Oh, I beat your record.
Well, it's
so you see those orange fish that happen?
I'm just having you unlock stuff for me. This is the new level of like DLC and support. I just get the developer to play the game for me.
So you see these orange fish that I'm picking up right now? There's a few orange fish that I caught.
Yeah, I did see one.
Let me see if I can find another one.
Yep.
Those fish you always want to be catching them.
Okay.
So the reason for that is they're not worth a lot, but they're fish that get pressurized when they go up into the air. So when you shoot them, they explode. And that explosion kills other fish. So you can set off a huge chain reaction if you just get to those orange fish.
What should our jellyfish strategy be in general?
Avoid them.
Just avoid, right?
Yeah. You want to catch one of them during the game at some point to fill up your Fishopedia. But you don't want to be, you definitely don't want to be catching them if you can. Like sometimes, if there's like a really valuable fish. So yeah, if I shoot this one, it will kill the jellyfish until I give them some space.
We just got done over it.
So ignore the jellyfish. Unless it's like, there you go.
I appreciate you making me some money.
Also, got 2 new species.
That's great. That's progress. Should I read the tweets?
So the tweets actually have some tips in there.
Okay.
Birder is actually a really useful thing. It tells you a lot about like what is happening in the game. It also gives you some tips on certain fish and how to catch them. It's a pretty involved thing, but I mean there can be really interesting information in there.
And plus, when they eventually make the Ridiculous Fishing movie, this is a lot of lore. They can
This is a
drop
lot of
on a lot of the
backstory.
characters.
Exactly.
Like, have you already figured out who you would cast as Salty and Maddie?
We're thinking we use a pelican and
okay.
and another bird.
Oh.
They're actually birds. There's a bit more to the story of Ridiculous Fishing than a lot of people realize, and a lot of it is not told as a story, but sort of like as little clues in the game. This is actually a really big clue that you're staring at right now.
I will study the tape. I will scrutinize the tweets. Is there more coming, or
We're actually going to be updating it after GDC happens next week.
Okay.
Because there are a few requests that we've been getting along. One of them is a cut the rope item in the last area, the infinite area. So we're looking at that and how to do that in a nice way. We're also going to be updating it so that you can play your own music, because that's been a request that we've heard a lot. Then in the future, we actually want to be doing another big content update, because we have a separate story arc that we really want to play with and want to figure out what we can do with that. But until we figure out like how to do that on the level of quality that people expect from Ridiculous Fishing, we're just going to be working on it.
Okay, very cool. Thanks a lot.